One.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of Matters of the Heart with psychological performance coach, a man with 2 degrees. Is it 1.5?
1.5. Maybe.
1.5, 1 3/4. He's getting there. Barbie Mckrea. We're talking infidelity. We're talking what happens when the man or the woman ends up having an affair and why. So, weighing on the topic, be part of the conversation. And the great news is tonight, so Monday night, we have 13 tickets to give away. Tonight, we've got 14. Sponsored by Quality Bake #1, Claudette and Andre Cochran. Sponsored 10 tickets that I'm giving away. But remember, it's a hot topic, so valuable contributions. We appreciate that. And then, of course, Mohammed's Meat Hyper in Lansdowne, he donated 2 tickets. That's 12. And the other 2 are multi-bake. Faisal Hanika donated 2 tickets. So that's a total of 14 tickets that we're giving away tonight. Yeehaw. Okay, so more than often, Baki, dis is 'n ernstige topic, ons is serious. So more than often when there's that level of dissatisfaction in the relationship, people tend to drift, whether it's the man or the woman, and unfortunately there's an increase in people having affairs,
Yeah, and I think what's really disturbing over the last, let's say, 5 to 7 years is that we have a more of an influx of infidelity coming from women.
Yeah.
So normally we associate infidelity predominantly as a male thing, but sadly in the last 7 years the stats for infidelity with women have gone up.
It's definitely changed.
Yeah.
But so there's a vast variety of reasons, and again, I want you, the viewers, to weigh in to tell me. And of course, this is the program, we keep it real, but you can remain anonymous, all right? So what are some of the key reasons that people start drifting apart, they're no longer in the same wavelength, they're bored out of their skulls, they have that need for the adrenaline, for a bit of excitement, and so, it happens in the workplace with a colleague, it happens with a pal that you connect at a later stage in your life, because again, of that level of dissatisfaction. It could be lack of communication, lack of intimacy, which is right on top of the list, So sometimes, when partners, not just guys, but when partners in a relationship, when they get too cozy, too coochie-coochie-coo, they tend to get onto the humdrum, the wham bam, thank you ma'am, and then, again, dissatisfaction from the partner, so they move on. They want a tad bit more excitement. They want to keep that adrenaline pumping and rolling.
I think also, Adiela, we have to acknowledge that people are just generally not happy. And you got to also bear in mind in the past, other than social media playing a major role in accessibility and all of that.
Can I tell you, before you continue, I was chatting to a guy earlier on, and he said, you know what, Adela, I don't do the social media thing. It's a thing between my wife and I where we've discussed it, and we now know that it might lead to temptation, so we're kind of refraining from that. So, yeah. And before we continue, Baki, let's quickly move in on the first comment.
Louise says, good evening, what a stylish posed lady. And then
thank you, Louise.
Anonymous says, he looks very tired, shame go sleep, uncle.
I start werken the Monday. Normally on a Thursday and a Monday night, when Baki comes to me, then he comes from a client. And the work that he does, being a counselor, you kind of need to shake it off because it's pretty deep. I mean, I'm a registered life coach, and I promise you, I do not operate as a life coach because it's draining when you deal with another human being. You've got to literally, you've got to get into the headspace where you need to let it roll. And I was told, you'll never make a great counselor because I always got too involved. I always wanted to solve the problem, whether it's the lack of the moolah, the lack of ... So his work, yeah, it's not easy being a counselor. But let's quickly move on.
Star says Adela needs to become a model ASAP.
Ah, thank you, darling.
And then Farida says,
And just because of that, I'm giving him a ticket to the show, to the workshop rather. And Louise wants to use sweetheart. But Farida?
Farida says, is it maybe there's no connection, lost the spark?
Lost the spark?
Yeah, I think this is when people, what she means is when people
Yeah.
are obviously disconnected.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so once people are disconnected over a period of
Good
time,
comment, Farida.
you tend to get the grey areas are being filled by a third party.
Yep.
And this is the danger when the
Definitely.
shortfall in your relationship is going to be filled by another person. Then you're going to become attracted to that. You know, it starts with an emotional attachment.
Whatever it is that you
It
like.
starts with a lot of talking,
Yeah.
understanding, emotional attachment, male or female, and you'll find you draw closer and closer to that person. And then the final nail is the person tend to understand you better.
You know, girls, more than often, Baki, I mean, you as a counselor, you know this. So, as females, we think with our
Sorry.
mouth up. But men tend to think with?
No, our foundation is based on ego and you guys on emotion. So
Totally.
we have a totally different platform in operating and understanding.
And I'll get to my point in a moment. Let's move on.
Salama Abbas says evolved and
Hey,
no
Salama.
longer connected.
Yeah.
Then Star says, did she say I get a ticket to the workshop?
Yep.
And then Farida says, did the person that cheated on another person really you? I think she means to say really love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farida, and so that's one ticket to you. So it starts Farida, it's Louise, and that's 3 tickets, right?
Salama doesn't get a ticket.
Slama doesn't get a ticket.
No, the thing is, listen, this is where we chatted a bit on Tuesday, we chatted about love languages. And so the thing is, you must understand that when you meet somebody or when you marry somebody, there's the assumption or at least the understanding that you are in love with this person.
Yeah.
Or that you truly love the person, but maybe you care for the person. And as time goes on and you find out that you're not really entirely compatible, you find out that there was a misinterpretation of your language of love.
Yeah.
So sometimes when people fill voids and stuff, you can make the assumption that you're in love.
Yeah.
But when people truly analyze what in love is and love, you find out that you actually just cared about the person. And the person fulfilled a certain aspect of your life.
Very interesting topic, a topic on its own.
Is what is in love.
Yeah, very hard topic. You know, you can love somebody, but you might not be in love with the person, so
Monday,
you care
that's
deeply,
beautiful.
but you're not.
Talk about that on
Yeah,
Monday.
definitely that's the topic for Monday. Please remind us. So 11 more tickets up for grabs, 10 tickets sponsored by Claudette, by Andre Cochran, our quality bake #1, a very good client of mine in Lansdowne, hearts of gold, always ready to roll when it comes to workshops. Adiela, absolutely, here's 10 tickets, here's 20 tickets. So 10 sponsored by them tonight in Lansdowne. Hulle baie lekker donuts, I've got to tell you. 2 tickets by Multi-Bake, also in Lansdowne. And then Mohammed's Meat Hyper, 2 tickets. So that's a total of 14. We gave away 3. We gave 1 to Farida, that's 4. So 10 more tickets up for grabs. The hot topic as in a net aangesluit. We're talking infidelity. Hoe kom met mans en vrouens affairs? Why do they drift? Why do they move on? Why are they seeking validation possibly from another person? Why are they seeking that attention? And talking about attention, Bak, you know, I mean, women especially, they want to hear, oh, you look fabulous, darling. Oh, you look great. Men too. But I'm just saying, when there's the lack of, I vat nie regtig notisie nie, and, you know, I kind of feel neglected. Yeah, you know, and we're not condoning it. We're just saying that it is
I think
real.
for men it's more about the respect, but it's also about, you know, you've got the whole idea about the male psyche is obviously the ego. So respect plays a huge role, but it's admiration. I think once your partner doesn't admire you anymore, it is highly likely that you guys will part. And it's the foundation, it's the starting point for people separating emotionally.
Great that you're mentioning that, Baki, because die mans wil hoor hulle lyk goed.
They want
You
to be
know?
admired. So for a woman, it's more about the affirmation.
Yeah.
So their love language is affirmation. The
Yeah.
male's love language that we said on Monday, I mean on Tuesday, I think it was largely, it's based on you know,
Being appreciated.
serving,
Yeah.
appreciating, and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And whereas for a woman, it gives affirmation and those kind of things, and then affection, which is linked to intimacy. So everybody needs intimacy.
Yeah, so on that point, Baki
So-
and viewers, you know, when it comes down to intimacy, mans of vrouwens, you know, dis ietsie wat regtig ontsettend belangrik is in enige verhouding, you know. But
There's a gap there.
yeah, let's quickly move on.
Anonymous says, can grief be a reason for infidelity?
Yeah,
Can what?
grief.
Grief.
Yes.
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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if I have a loss of whatever, grief of any sort, and you, it's something that doesn't not resonate with the next person, but it doesn't get me, it doesn't understand me on a deeper level. Of course.
And something
Absolutely,
the
definitely.
viewers must be in mind. I've been doing counseling for 26 years, and I can tell you, when you see client after client and you do couples, whatever, you'll find that it's something we spoke about on our show of trauma.
Yeah.
So one of the things I told you guys is when there's a traumatic event, we always assume that people behave a certain way because they had trauma in their childhood.
Pain changes people.
But sometimes
Yeah.
you don't need a traumatic childhood to have trauma when a traumatic event, say for instance, you lose a mom, a dad, or you go through a divorce.
Yeah.
That
Also very
traumatic, yes,
traumatic.
that traumatic event can create a lot of insecurity,
Yeah.
distrust, no more trust, no more this, and you'll find that this person changes. So by
Yeah.
the time you have a relationship with this person, you're taking on somebody who has baggage, who has a trauma.
Yeah.
And then what happens is all those elements that person have will kind of fall onto you. And so a lot of
Yeah.
people then react to it, and it's really difficult for partners to then navigate that.
Yep.
And so it causes,
I want to
Friction.
give a ticket to Anonymous. I really want you to attend the workshop. The workshop that we're having, it's Saturday the 12th of July. It's all about who am I, rediscovering yourself and reconnecting, all right? Definitely a workshop that you must attend. So the reason that this is,
how will she attend if she's anonymous?
she needs to connect with me after the show. Everybody's got my number, but I'll repeat that number in the morning.
I know who the anonymous person is.
Okay, well, maak nie saak nou, jou man. Okay, so that's 5 tickets that we gave away, sponsored by Quality Bake number 1, Multi-Bake sponsored 2, Mohammed's Need Hyper sponsored 2, total of 14, 9 more up for grabs. And I'll tell you why I'm getting clients involved to actually donate these tickets, because A, we know it's really challenging times, people don't have the moolah. B, there's a great need. People need to vent, they need to pose the questions, they need to connect, they need to rediscover and find themselves. Because everything we do in life, viewers, starts with you, you know, before you even connect with the next person. So very interesting workshop. Unfortunately, we're only accommodating 50 people. However, Baki, what I have decided is in 2 weeks' time, or rather in 4 weeks' time, so our workshop's the 12th, and then I've decided that we'll have another one at the end of the month end, where people might have a bit of moolah, because, you know, I cannot get these freebies all the time, because, you know, the reality is businesses too, they're also going through challenges. So I've made the exception for this one, where we're donating all the tickets because we want people to benefit. And so yeah, 9 more up for grabs. Let's quickly move on.
So Farida and Anonymous asked kind of the same question. Farida asked, can a couple overcome cheating? And Anonymous asked, can a spark be fixed after cheating?
So the first answer is yes. Although it is challenging, but I'll get the expert to answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare, but it's possible.
It
And
is
so what
possible.
happens is that it's you know, it's why I'm saying it's rare but possible is that you do find,
Cracks always
yeah,
remain.
so you don't
Yeah.
focus on the redemption, A lot of people, when they focus on somebody that's committed adultery or this infidelity, you'll find that the person will have to redeem themselves. So what a lot of people overlook in counseling is the inability of the other person to forget. It's not about forgetting. So nobody talks about the forgetting part. Because normally, and the only dilemma I have with somebody redeeming themselves after infidelity is that they tend to get a life sentence. So when you're going to give your partner a life sentence, then don't take him or her back. It won't make sense. Rather break up, rather get divorced, because if you're going to give your partner a life sentence, there's a period where they have to redeem themselves to regain. You don't know what that period is. For some people it's a year, it's a few months, it's years. But while they're busy redeeming themselves and they're proving themselves, are you able to forget? And so what a lot of people forget is once your client is incapable of forgetting, it becomes impossible.
And really a topic on its own as well. And also, the kids bear the brunt. Because, you know, there's a constant nagging, a constant insecurity.
And the reminding. So it's the forgetting and the reminding. And so if this two overlap, the idea of reconciling is virtually impossible.
Totally. Let's move on.
So Delicious says, Hoya means you back A and P love me with all your heart as I love you. Hence I always surrender to Moa.
Okay, so ticket to Delicious?
Delicious.
Delicious. Ooh.
And then Chef Yasin says, Salam, how are you?
Walaikum salam, alhamdulillah, great to hear from you. And a ticket to Chef Yasin as well. It's a total of 7. We've got 7 more tickets up for grabs. Remember, this is, you know, I think, you know, a very close pal of mine, she's a metaphysical therapist, and she'll always tell me, Adiela, stop with this freebies because people actually don't appreciate, you know. However, and we always have a hard debate about this because I believe that, you know, there are people that will genuinely actually appreciate it because they genuinely need it. And so I'm big on making it happen, making it possible, and I also, it's a known fact that people don't really seek psychological help. People don't go for counseling, you know. And again, another topic on its own. But yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so user said it can't, especially when the person is emotionally detached.
Yeah.
And Salama Ba says lack of spirituality leads to seeking excitement outside.
Yeah.
Moktalisha say, Adila, you've been to see a love doctor because you're coughing too much.
Oi, must be Barky's germs. I'm actually, sweetheart, I'm actually recovering from flu. I was so sick on Friday. I had 3 TikToks the morning, like one after the next. And I came home and I was like, kids, out of my face. And I curled up in bed. And so I've been taking care of myself. But you know, when it comes to the moolah, honey, I cannot say no. Gotta keep rolling. But alhamdulillah, much better. I'm okay. Let's move on.
Okay, so Ka says, is it also cheating when chatting to someone else?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Cheating comes
in many different forms.
It comes in everybody's focused on the physical form.
Yeah.
You started cheating when you admire somebody else at work already. When you start, I know everybody's going to say they're human, but when you start chatting to somebody, laughing with somebody too much in the shop and then having conversations, intimate conversations, these are all, then cyber cheating is the most common one. In Cape Town, we are world famous for it. Cyber cheating, chatting to another person privately, almost everybody's done it, and it's sad, but it is the way it is. And that's when your partner's not enough. And so what people need to know is that when your partner cheats on you, you were never enough.
Yeah.
You were never, no matter what they do, they're never going to be enough.
Let's move on.
User says, I really, really need it. And then Ka says, just have to love you.
Carl says?
Ka says, just have to love you. And then
Love you too.
Moktalisha says, you guys are breaking up a lot. We lose out on answers.
We are?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get everybody else to respond, the other viewers as well, whether there is a bit of a bad connection, or is it just maybe from her side? Let us know. And so, just for you, as je net aangesê het weer eens, we're talking about infidelity, hoe kom mans en vrouwens verhoudings het outside the relationship, alright? So, wat drijft hulle?
I should ask you a question, it's hypothetical.
Yeah.
So if I, as a woman, what do you think would have driven you to cheat?
Lack of attention.
Besides your religious conviction and all of that, what would have made you feel comfortable enough to cheat?
If I didn't get enough attention, if I didn't come first, it is the lack of the moolah. Net 'n grappie, he always wants me to say that. But on a serious note, dissatisfaction within the relationship, yeah, absolutely. And again, it takes a lot of control. Because temptation's out there, you know, it takes so much control. But what's allowed me, I think, was it's allowed me for you to touch on the spirituality part. So, you know, when you have that connection with your higher power, then I'm not saying it's impossible, but I am saying you're not going to easily go down that road, you know?
It's a little bit more difficult, but it's complex.
Let's move on.
Everyone else is saying it's not breaking up, the connection's fine. And then Murad says, so auntie at the bakery last night after work.
Hey, Murad.
Salama says, hurting a man's pride and his ego and disrespect. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, Murad, if you're interested, honey, you know, I'm just giving it away. Ticket to you, sweetheart.
Just to comment on that last comment, it's not entirely true. You know, you can be, it's been proven statistically, and you guys can Google this, you can be the perfect wife or husband. But let's do the wife thing. Many women have experienced this. You can be the perfect wife, respect your husband, take care of him, honor him, all of these things, and you'll still find a guy cheating. So
can I add on to that?
Okay.
You could be absolutely fabulous, honey. You could be stunning, you could be beautiful, and he could actually end up with a scropla that makes him feel good.
The thing is, even if you make him feel good, we need to also realize that sometimes men cheat even if they have a good wife. It's because of their own trauma or their own issues and their own insecurities.
Definitely.
And it leads to them seeking stuff somewhere else. So sometimes the woman automatically goes into the blame game, or she starts feeling that she's done something wrong. Sometimes you don't need to do anything wrong for your guy to cheat on you.
You see, the other challenge that we have, guys and girls, I'm addressing both of you, is that we have so many high-powered females in this day and age. So that in its own becomes a challenge for the guys, because they cannot deal with it.
And in addition to that, you need to understand it's in the male psyche's innate nature
to be in control,
but to also have a polygamous mindset. So he loves his wife, or he cares about this person, but it's very instinctive for him to still see a beautiful woman in a shop, and that the way you react to that, though, that's where your foundation comes in, whether it's a religious conviction, whether it's your fact that you've been raised to be loyal, trustworthy, all these things, and your personality all intertwined will make you a good person and will make you refrain from reacting to what the world throws out there. And it's very visible today.
Gotta agree with Mckrea.
But the thing is, for majority of men, they're not able to do that. And last but not least, what's leading up to a lot of infidelity at the moment is, you must remember, when we went through a transition, stuff became so accessible to our society that has never been accessible before. And so you must remember, it's almost like an opportunistic thing. You must remember the guy that was a so-called nerd before, that's now a qualified doctor or qualified lawyer. This guy has power. This guy has some level of strength. He might not be an alpha male, but he's going to be surrounded by popularity in a different context. So the accessibility today to people is so powerful, and it makes people feel a sense of power. So you start assuming you can do anything, you're powerful, you actually have accessibility, you have money that you've never had before. People talk about massages with happy endings, people talk about infidelity in this way. It takes different formats, but it's because stuff is so more accessible today and easy that it becomes, for people to be loyal today, it's really an accomplishment.
Totally agree. Let's move on.
Nuri says, who's the guest speaker if I may ask?
Jean. So, Adla Fortune in the house, Barbie Mckrea and Salama Abbas. So, we'll be entertaining you.
And then Ka says, now why does men cheat, but then in the end they make the woman feel so bad about herself?
Yeah,
good question. Very good question.
It's not reverse psychology. The whole thing is people don't love to be accountable for things. So you will find the same argument in divorce. When people get divorced, you'll find that one person must always feel the need to make the other person feel that it was their fault. So instead of taking accountability for your disloyalty, for your betrayal, for the infidelity, you can, for instance, say, you never treated me well, you never respected me, you never honored me, blah, 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 and the list goes on. And so you have to, it's not reverse psychology, but it's like an inferiority complex. So what happens is the person has to, in many ways,
make him or herself feel better.
Put it on you. But in actual fact, they're not willing to look at themselves, which is that they are weak. They have betrayed their partner, they have lack of self-respect, and all of this. The list goes on and on.
Let's move on.
The people saying you must get some water. And Alicia says, I usually read the menu, but you don't need to buy what's on the menu.
Oh,
no, that's what makes you human. I mean, even women do it. I mean, women are watching Turkish and Korean and this show and that show, and they admire the guy, or they think he's amazing. In my time, back in the day, it was John Travolta, this one, that one, that one. There's nothing wrong with some level of admiration, or like a fetish for this hot guy, or Brad Pitt, whatever. But I think if it gets to the extent where there's comparing Brad Pitt with your husband, or in any format, if there's some level of comparing, then that's what I think is going to be the little, the root, or let's say you're planting a seed for something to happen between you and your partner, because your partner cannot be this actor or whatever that you see on TV. It's just
I do want to add on, because this is a fact, right? So generally when you smile, look, I'm very friendly, I've got a very flamboyant personality, and I smile big almo. So I literally do this when I drive, because I don't want to look right or left, because you smile with the guys and I think, oh yeah, opportunity girl. So that is another challenge that, you have the exact same problem, Barbie, because we have very similar personalities. And so it becomes so difficult to always not be authentic.
It's accessible. I said, I think things were accessible in my father's time and back in the day, but I think it's tenfold worse now. Stuff is so accessible. You can literally meet people in a shop. At the workplace, it's like really going bizarre.
Right. Very right.
In sports, running clubs, sports, everywhere you go,
definitely.
There's infidelity everywhere. I mean, you letting your wife run with some other dude, but you at work. There's some weird stuff happening. I hear it all the time. But the point is that the accessibility has made it easier for people to consider the opportunity, especially where there's a grey area. And whenever there's a grey area or a void, and somebody else fills that void, your marriage is in danger.
Yep, let's move on.
Farida says, why does the person being cheated on be blamed?
Exactly what the person asked earlier on. Because it's the complexity about it. In order for you to not take accountability, it's easier for me to say, You've done this to me all the
Shift
years.
the blame.
You've
Shift
never
the blame.
respected me,
Yeah.
never honored me. If this is how you've treated me.
Yep.
So instead of working through it, maybe the person feels I can't do this anymore. And also, I don't know why we're making, sometimes we don't have to make it this analytical or complex. At some point in your life, you also just gotta be authentic and be real and say, I'm not in love with you anymore. I don't love you anymore. And so a lot of people don't want to talk about
Barbie, ietsie verskriklik ontsettend belangrik. Sometimes you find that the partner ends up having an affair not because he or she does not love the other partner. Sometimes they're still very much in love. So, and I think this is very important because I do believe that after an affair, a marriage can be saved, you know.
I wouldn't go to that extent as Adiela to say they were in love. There's a perception of in love. If you are truly in love or truly care about somebody, the odds of infidelity is so rare. I think it's because you are dealing with your own baggage in relation to your understanding.
Let's get the viewers
you
to weigh in.
feeling that you love this person. It's not really, it's very hard to cheat on somebody you care deeply about.
Let's quickly move on.
Salama Pa says there won't be a phase if people have models. And then this name, I can't read it out, it's in Arabic. It says, is it cheating when you find your husband is chatting to someone else, helping her with things?
Yeah, no,
Not necessarily.
There's a fine line. There's a fine
necessarily.
line with your husband chatting to somebody else because he's helpful. But if
Could be
he,
his nature to just.
but if he hides it from you, then it's then it's a dispute.
Yeah.
Because if you have nothing to hide, I'm helping women all the time. That I'm helping out this one, that one, that one, that one, and I keep it a secret all the time. Then there's a red flag. The guys, you can help her, but if he doesn't have a conversation with you about it, then it's a red flag.
Just to add on to that, I do believe sometimes, you know, you have a partner that's extremely jealous, so sometimes you hold back information not because you're not being open, you're not an open book, but simply because you're wanting to avoid confrontations. It could be that
or avoid the reaction, but that means your relationship is not solid.
Solid. Precies. Let's move on.
Guys says, shukran so much. I'm getting so much help from you guys. Now it makes me see clearly on things.
Okay. Well, looking forward to seeing you at the workshop, Ka. I promise you, you know, the other thing I want to touch on, if you look at the type of workshop that, and we've been running with this for years, so we're a group called Warriors of Worth, right? That's Salama, Baz, Barbie Mckrea and I. We kick-started this, so we started with our radio show, and then one night Barbie and I just decided to roll with this because, you know, people used to phone us after the show, and we're like, oi, people need this workshop, you know, and then this is what we started a few years ago. Last year, with my daughter's accident, my husband's passing, we actually stopped for a while, so we haven't had a workshop in a very long time. It's our first. Definitely not the last. We will continue to have these workshops, but I want to quickly say that if you look at this 3-hour workshop, workshops like these will cost you 500, 600, 700 rand. You know, if not more. But our key thing is to upskill, to educate, to empower. Sounds so cliche, but you have no idea how much people benefit, how much they learn, and how much they improve their lives by attending these kind of workshops, you know.
It's the small things, you know what gets to me in counseling, but also when I used to be a court manager at court, I mean, I was a court manager for a short while, so I have a small legal background. And you know what was really strange for me is just how people just don't know the small things. And how our community is like kind of held back by not understanding simple things. I don't want to use the cliche word there, rights or this or that. So I don't want to also make it about education, but at the end of the day, just by knowing these small little things, you hear people say, oh my God, I didn't know.
Knowledge is power.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So if I tell a woman, listen, this is actually what you are able to do. If you feel that you're being abused in this way, you can maybe do that, and vice versa. So it's small little things that people don't know, and it's sad that nobody makes an effort. And so yes, we can put it back on the audience and say, but it's also your fault. You need to lead, you need to educate yourself, don't be lazy. But it's small things, man, that people are just overlooking. And then when it comes to our topic of infidelity, there's so much misinformation, and it's something nobody asked.
It's uncomfortable.
I'm surprised that somebody didn't ask this, so I'm going to ask it on behalf of somebody else, because it's something that I have too much in my counseling, especially in our community. It's the infiltration of the family and extended family that makes the infidelity worse. So in a lot of cases that you'll find the family makes it worse. Instead of supporting the person, they give the person the complete worse advice. And this is something that I don't understand in our community. Instead of pumping all your resources into supporting this person, helping her with the trauma of the infidelity or whatever, people are coming with their religious conviction, this conviction, psychological angles, whatever. Everybody's smarty pants, but nobody is helping the person. Even if it's just with a piece of bread or advice or whatever, but they're giving the person such a lot of misinformation. And the one person will say, just overlook it. The other person will say, you should do this. The other will say, take him to court. That everybody's giving advice without thinking the impact, the impact it will have on this couple or on the individual.
Precies. Okay, how many minutes? Boy, we're way over time.
Ka says I would love to come, yes, and I need it.
Okay, sweethearts, all of you, connect with me after the show, 081-789-1094. Just pop me a WhatsApp. If you need a counseling session with Barbie Mckrea, he's a very good counselor. 082-346-5974. No, you didn't pay me to say that. That's 082-346-5974. That's and like I've mentioned a short moment ago, he's got 2 degrees. He's a very experienced counselor. He's been doing counseling for almost 30 long years. So
30 years old.
And say
Since I
drome.
was 5 years old.
Times that by 2. But he's young at heart. Gotta give him that.
Your number again, Kanara.
Okay, 082-346-5974.
That's my number.
Yeah, that's your number,
They want
Mckrea.
your number.
My number is
For the tickets.
081-789-1094.
For the tickets, they want
Okay.
for the tickets.
Just DM me.
They can
So,
DM you after the live, whoever wants
yeah,
it.
please do. And see you on Saturday the 12th of July. It's
Monday
gonna be.
Monday we'll talk about what is in love.
Do you know what, Barky? I feel there's so much that we haven't covered in this show. There's so much that we still need to talk.
Carry it over? You want to carry it over?
Definitely. I also want to chat about, and this is a very hot topic, the second wife. And some of the second wives were actually the ones that the guy had the affair with.
And then they marry the person.
And
It's
then
a
they marry the
cultural
person.
thing, yeah.
You know?
They first have the affair and then they marry the person.
Mm.
But just on a jokey, interesting note, just to end off, otherwise it's been very intense, So
That's an intense topic, that's a hot
if
topic.
you had an affair, or would have had an affair, what would have your method be? Texting, what method would be suitable for you?
I wouldn't have an affair. I would tell my husband that I'm sick and tired and I'm walking out. And no. I'm broad-minded, I'm liberal, but no, I'm not. No, not even hypothetically. I wouldn't go down that route.
Face to face.
What about face to face?
She's saying you had a spot. That would have been you would have had a spot.
Whatever. Nah. Quite honestly, I mean, again, I've Thankfully,
I'll speak
never,
on your behalf.
ever.
I've
never been
I've known you for
judgmental.
so many years, so I will speak on your behalf with this one.
You can.
So Adiela can't be, I must say, Adiela is not your infidelity type. Even though Adiela looks flamboyant and all of these things.
Flair mace, I'm not.
If Adiela's guilty of loving money, yes, but don't you dare tell people she would be susceptible to infidelity.
Can I tell you, and this discussion I had with Salama Abbas, and I said that it's insane, you know. Men are thinking by just throwing money at me, and I blame you. I blame Barbie Mckrea, because guys are thinking, and actually, no, they're telling me, you know, I'll take very good care of you, and you know, and these are all guys that once become the second wife. I'm like, oi, liewe jong, ek sal nooit, I can hold my own, ek werk vir my eie moolah. However, I want to add on, no, absolutely not. I will never, capital N, never share. I will never become the second wife. No, that's a no. People have their reasons. I respect that. I'm not judgmental. Wat jy doen, dis jou toerie-vroerie, each to its own. But personally, you've asked me the questions, I'm answering that. No, I will not settle for being a second wife because I value myself too much. Exactly. No disrespect to anybody that's a second.
Numero uno.
Whatever. But you've asked the question, I've answered that. So I'm just being brutally honest.
What about the guy with the money? I mean,
even if he's got the money, honey, I would not settle becoming the second wife. And personal reasons, you know, again, I'm going to say this very clearly, abundantly clear. I want to make this, that I'm not judgmental. I'm not disrespecting anybody that's a second wife. But I was posed the question and I've answered it.
So you'll be the third wife.
But Mckrea Malhaas, rather, I'm just squeezing the final comment.
2. So Mo says, my sugar daddy is a single man, no need to be a second wife. And then Dreamer says they want to take care of you in only one way.
You know.
Maybe financially. I mean.
And then Aaron says 4 is a lucky number.
Exactly. Number 4. Buy you a house, the whole thing.
I've got a house.
You have another house.
And I just want to say that, you know, ladies, especially to my younger viewers, if and when you get married, the dowry is going to be there, honey. $1 million. You ask for the house, you ask for the car. When I got married the first time, my dowry was the house. When I got married the second time, it was ... So do not settle for less. You deserve.
What about us guys who don't have a lot of money?
Dis hoekom die mans moet werk. Women are the queens. They don't have to work. You know, if you work, it's because you want to, not because you have to.
Exactly.
I mean, another discussion on its own, you are the providers.
Alright.
Honey. Maar ons vrouens is hardwerkend.
So how many of your friends are still single waiting for that guy?
All of them.
Exactly.
And yeah, no denial, the standards are too high. But both you and Habibulin said to me, and they're my 2 best friends, they were saying to me, ek gaan nie gou 'n man kry nie, maar ek soek nie. Dis die ding. Ek soek nie 'n man nie. So I'm kind of enjoying the freedom, enjoying hanging with the pals and enjoying, you know, so, and I miss my husband so much. You know, I don't think it's going to be easy for me to find the type of husband that I had. I mean, I didn't cook in the 25 years we were married. I didn't have to clean, no washing, no toerie-fruity. So ek weet nie waar in die grote Kaap gaan ek so 'n man kry nie.
High standards and I don't have to cook.
You know. Anyway, we will continue. More tickets up for grabs in the next edition. We're back Monday night, one final time. My number 081-789-1094. Mckrea on 082-346-5974. Ciao, ciao. And adios, amigos.
Adios, amigos.